life. That's it. All I want to do is be a friend to God. And that's all he wants from us. That's why Jesus said, my yoke is easy, my load is light. Here's some new commandments. And if you do these, all the other 10 will fall into place. And any other ones that are left out. Okay, love God above all else. That's right, because that's your owner. He's the one that gave you your very existence and all the stuff you've ever enjoyed in your life. Okay? You know, I mean, this is it. Give God thanks. In everything, give thanks to God for everything. Even our sin. I mean, if it's something you say, well, you know, God, I really got this thing about lust. I really love women, and, you know, I can't get away from just the beauty of this creation, and you're so perfect, this way you designed her, this woman, you know, and I'm having a really hard time here. Just remember that give him thanks. He gave you the woman. He gave you your sexual desires, okay? He gave you your sexuality and mine. And so this is really not so evil if it wasn't for the original sin, the fall of man, and the knowledge of good and evil. You see, we're not even supposed to know when we're naked. Could you imagine how different is that? You see the breakaway here? I mean, this is incredibly maddening. Just our innate, inherent sense of sin, it runs deep. But the thing is that some of that sin is God is responsible for, like the lust. I mean, I'm not saying that he put lust in our heart. Like it says, you don't blame me when you fall weak. Okay, blame yourself for being weak. But nevertheless, give thanks in everything. So we can be grateful. That's the point, is that in everything we are to give thanks. Not in some things, but in everything. And this whole idea of, you know, taking God's grace for granted, I mean, we should all take God's grace for granted in the sense that we need to. We need it. So if you need it, if this is part of the love that you have for God, and you need his grace, you need his mercy, you need his long-suffering, his restraint, his mercy, okay, his compassion and empathy, all these good things we need, then we need to embrace those things and offer those things to other people. We need to be compassionate, understanding, and sensitive to other people, really caring, loving each other. So this is all given from God. We love God above all else because he's everything good and nothing bad. Nothing bad has ever been his fault, or never will be. This thing we call death someday is going to be swallowed up in victory. This is a big part of the eventual picture we're looking at here. We need imperishable bodies. We need to live forever. We need to not be able to be threatened by anything, and that day is coming. And it's all about honoring God above all else. That nobody else can save our lives. Nobody else can love us the way we need to be loved, or understand us the way we need to be understood. That's all God that's doing that. And he gave us our ability to love and understand others as best as we can. And to go out and be his servant, willingly, his slave. And to go and pull people out of the flames. It's not our job to condemn, but to convince people when they're wrong. And remembering the prodigal son. And remembering that those that bring many to righteousness, they often don't know it. I mean, we're doing this thing. The angels are witnesses of these things that's happening here. You know, this is all a beautiful thing that, you know, all heaven's rejoicing over one sinner that repents, the 99 righteous people that don't need to. So the idea is just mercy, compassion, holding the olive leaf out to the bitter end. Let him strike one cheek and turning to them the other, and all this. They take our cloak, give them, you know, something else, it says, like it's written. Long suffering. If somebody comes to us and asks forgiveness 7 times a day, no, we're to forgive them more than 7 times. 70 times 7, Jesus says. So on and on and on. We've got to be like God, long-suffering, persevering, restrained, loving, and kind, knowing that he's going to be victorious. And he's already victorious by evidence in our own life. There is no death. To God, all are alive. All these things I'm saying are written. This is the truth. To God, everyone that ever lived on the face of the earth and died is still alive. So it's not about reincarnation. It's about resurrection and getting this new imperishable body. This is all coming. So now about this second commandment, and all the other commandments fall into place. Love God above all else. Have no gods before me. And, you know, that's the one. I'm sorry. That's still number 1. Number 2 is like it. And he said, love one another this same way as you love me, as you love yourself. Okay, we are to treat others like gods, with great respect, with great empathy, with great caring and concern and love. All these same qualities that we learn from God, we are to give other people. We are to give a damn. That's being his friend. And to heal this division in the land. And understand this is Satan's plan, and all these evildoers working for Satan, like George Soros and the Bushes and Clintons and the Kissingers and Brzezinski's out there, and so many others in the shadows, right? All those Federal Reservists, all those people owning the money printing rights, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all these highfalutin elitist hypocrites, the Al Gores out there, the Bill Gates types, all these people that think that the Georgia Guidestones are right on, man. We got to get rid of over 90% of the people, and then we could build our utopia. Yeah, we're altruistic because we want to save the earth. Don't give a crap about humanity. We just want to save the earth, right? That's more important than saving humanity. That makes a lot of sense. These people are insane, and this is what we're all hitching our wagons to. This is logic. This is reason in the colleges and the higher institutions of learning. This is it. This is what they've got to offer us. This is intellectualism in the 21st century. Is this kind of thinking where we're destroying the earth by burning this dirty fuel, but let's not talk about disruptive technology and clean perpetual energy sources out there. No, we don't want to discuss those things because that's going to disrupt the status quo. We can't have that because I'm part of the status quo. I've hitched my wagon to the establishment. I'm in one of these special interest groups that are benefiting from this crony capitalist fascist system that we're engaging in. Okay, that's creating this wealth and income disparity and manufacturing extreme poverty. There's no end in sight if we don't grab the bull by the horns and be really honest and wake up and smell the steaming, rotten, maggot-ridden pile of excrement that has become of our civilization, not just in America, but all around the world. These people are acting in unison all around the world in a pincher attack. They're hitting us on so many fronts. Okay, it's not just 1, 2 fronts, 3 fronts, 4. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fronts. So, I mean, the damage is done, man. And as far as pulling off this bandage, the economic bandage on humanity, they want to pull it off so slowly that scab just comes off really neat, doing the maximum damage. They want as many people dead. Remember, that's what they want. The Georgia Guidestones, they want to murder people. They would love to set up death camps, FEMA death camps, concentration camps, and just let people march willingly. Look, you've lost your will to live. Just go die. We're the good guys. We're going to save the earth. We're going to inherit the earth with our 500 million and that's all we want. That's all the earth can sustain. That's its carrying capacity. That's what we believe. So anybody, that's what they want. So this is why the analogy of, yank the bandage off, just pull it off. At least some of the scab's going to remain. Okay? The likelihood is that some of it will. If you do it quickly enough, you'll catch the scab by surprise, but if they just pull it off, oh no, don't let any of that scab stay on the wound and heal it. No. Pull it slower. So we got Janet Yellen raising the interest rates. You understand how this ties into what I'm saying here? So this is going to cause more pain. Who does the pain always fall on? The poorest. It always hits them the worst. Of course, you're losing the middle class. You got to feed the poor machine, the extremely poor. People need to die out under the bridges and in the bushes, okay, out in the cold, on sidewalks and benches all around this country. They need to contract diseases because their immune systems are broken down. They need to lose their will to live. We need to kill them to save the earth. So these people are delusional. They just hate people. If these people believe, like I believe a lot of these people believe, they're very smart. They're probably higher IQs than me. And they believe that this is the solution to humanity's problems, just wipe out over 90% of the people and ignore the fact that there's all this free, clean energy out there, this disruptive technology that could be in place so that everybody could live and we're good stewards of the earth. We take care of it like we should. Of course we should take care of the earth. Of course we should work with Mother Nature here. But these people are doing the opposite. They're spraying the skies with their chemtrails that we're breathing with no accountability, no liability for whatever the implication and complications and ramifications from that spraying is on our health or on the climate or anything else. And we're told, oh, no, this is just the way it is. It's sort of like these laws that don't make any sense. They're not immoral at all. No religion in the world would object to people in doing that behavior, but we got a law that's against it. Don't ask any questions. We're the authorities here. And even though often they're indulging in the same things. I mean, it's well known that George Bush, he loved his cocaine, right? Okay, but these guys doing crack on the streets, selling crack to try to survive, these are the bad guys, right? Let's go after them. You see, it's Satan has taken over our culture, our society. This decadence, this is where it's coming from. People losing their will to work. They don't want to work. They don't want to fit in at all. They don't need, when you work your butt off and you can't even pay your freaking rent. You got to go on food stamps to pay your bills. Is this really, this is it? And people aren't going to understand the root of the problem and confront it and understand what fighting the good fight means and why God is angry. This is it. This is the cause of all of our problems. It's the root of all of the evils, the abortions, the prostitution, all this child slavery and the pedophilia. All this stuff is about the money, the debt, the dubious war. All these jobs that revolve around the problem, all these special interest groups that are colluding to form this horrible behemoth. Understand the problem. Gain wisdom. And like King Solomon said, bind it around your neck, man, and nobody's taken away from you. Write it on the tablets of your heart. It's engraved in your soul, man. That's it. You fight the good fight, okay? And you will see good, like it's written. You have a pure heart. You're on everybody's side. It does not mean you agree with them. It does not mean you might not have to kill your enemy, but you can love them. So it doesn't mean you got to like your enemy, like Michael Savage conflating like and love. No. That's not it. And Jesus is never going to give up, okay? He's winning this battle. And the only people he's going to use effectively, or most effectively, he's using everybody, even the bad guys, but he's going to use most effectively those that willingly go along with his program and understand his character and nature, what it's all about. And when he said, whatsoever you do or fail to do for the least of these, you do or fail to do for me. That's not hard to understand. Are you going to stand before God and say, well, I just didn't understand what you meant there, and I'm going to deride the drug addicts, and I think they're less than human, and I don't deserve to give them respect? Really? And you're going to stand before their owner too? Remember, you're owned by the same one. When you belittle and deride other people, what do you think? It doesn't come back onto you? That's instant karma, man. That's it. Of course it comes back on you. It comes back on all of us. This is why we should honor and respect every man as much as possible. And I admit to my own struggles. I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite. But it's in my heart and my thoughts, my heart, my mind, my spirit, and then it comes out my mouth and my behavior. So I've got to keep myself in check. I got to get on my knees. I got to pray to God for that wherewithal to carry on, to cope, and to keep my heart pure like we all do. God's the only source. I can't give it to you. All I could do is see what Jesus did. And all he said he was doing was what his Father did. So you understand, you always pass the buck of goodness and honor on. I don't need it. I don't want to be famous. All I'm doing is preaching the good news of the gospel. And if I seem radical because I'm always talking about money and how we've got to wean ourselves off the junk, this is what I heard from Jesus. This is all. I'm just bringing it up to contemporary standards of 21st century and trying to point out to people how it's still in effect. It's still very relevant. That this is our reality. This is our paradigm. And it's maddening to me. And I find it untenable. Absolutely. I find it unnerving, insufferable. There's not adjectives powerful enough to describe how it bothers me. Okay? I'm not okay with the unnecessary suffering of fellow human beings. This is what extreme poverty brings. It brings all the suffering. It's the root of all the evil. It's where Satan has his throne, in the poverty. So Donald Trump, you need to go after the heart of the beast, even if it gets you killed. All those great men I said that you were striving to be like last week, guys like Martin Luther King Jr. maybe. I didn't mention him, but I think that's another one you wouldn't mind. I think you're a very liberal guy in a good way. And a lot of people have to accept that coming from a conservative. Abraham Lincoln and JFK and Andrew Jackson. What do all these men have in common? The same thing, right? Jesus Christ. What do all these guys? They were either assassinated or an assassination attempt was made on them. So this is what's going to happen if you're for real and you really are anti-establishment, you're really willing to go after the heart of the beast, then you're going after poverty. You've got to dry up extreme poverty. You got to see, where is the leaking sieve? Why is this gas tank leaking, and why is nobody fixing it? I'm telling you why, because the gas is pouring in the gizzards of all these evil people that work within the system, that are scared themselves. They need a paycheck. They don't want to be the next guy living in the bushes. All these social welfare workers are just doing what their higher-ups do to be relevant. You've just got to pay this Section 8 money, take your salary, and shut up. And if you want more money, then you go ahead and be like Rich Dad. Go into the rental property business. There's still Airbnb left, but we're